White marble glows under the Tuscan sun. Green lawn stretches around the Piazza dei Miracoli. Tourists line up for the same photograph, one hand outstretched, pretending to hold up the world's most famous tower. Cameras click. Guides recite the same charming stories. The air smells of lemon and happiness. This is the Pisa the world knows. No one tells you what happens at 3 a.m. when the square is empty. No one tells you about the spiderweb cracks in the foundation, or the sensors buried under the grass, blinking red in the dark, counting every millimeter. You have come here as a tourist. You have taken the same photograph. You have laughed at the same jokes. But you are not just a tourist. You carry a quiet connection to this tower that stretches back 800 years. You know that every smile, every photograph, every story is built on a lie. This secret has never been written down. It lingers quietly, bound to anyone who has ever stood guard over this tower through the ages. You are the last repairman of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Your life in this era is tasked with finishing what was started centuries ago. There are no clean blueprints in your hand. Only measurements, silence, and truths kept hidden across time. If the world loves a building because it is broken, would you dare to fix it completely? The camera crashes back to 1173. The Piazza dei Miracoli is not a lawn. It is a construction site drowning in dust and noise. Hammers strike marble, wet mortar sticks to calloused hands. Horses drag white Carrara marble through mud that never dries. Pisa wants to build Italy's most beautiful bell tower. To prove its power to Florence and Genoa, no expense is spared on marble or carvings, but almost no attention is paid to the ground beneath it. Back in this era, you were one of the ordinary stonemasons on the site. You carried marble, you mixed mortar, and you saw what the architect, bishop, and merchants refused to see. The tower is not rising straight, it is sinking. A line that should point to heaven drifts south. The earth breathes under the weight. When the soil tells the truth before the architect does, do you speak, or do you keep carrying stone? The fatal flaw is unforgivable. The foundation is only 3 meters deep, built to support a 14,500-ton tower. Beneath it, not solid rock, but soft, waterlogged soil of clay, sand, and ancient river sediment. It is like placing a crown on a wet sponge. The weight presses down, the sponge compresses, the crown tilts. The tower was doomed before the first stone was fully set. By the third level, the lean is visible to all workers. You saw it clearly too. One corner is almost a meter lower. Plumb lines hang at strange angles. Stones crack under uneven pressure. The powerful pretend it is a minor error, but the men who carry the stones know the truth. The ground is moving. A fellow mason named Luca speaks up. He says the work must stop. The city leaders are furious. Stopping would mean admitting defeat, wasting years of work and gold, and becoming a laughingstock across Italy. You say nothing. When asked, you tell them what they want to hear. The lean is caused by uneven mortar, and it can be fixed as they build higher. You call Luca a troublemaker. This is your first compromise. This is when you stop being just a worker. Luca is thrown off the site and dies poor and forgotten. You are promoted. The leaders like you. You do not ask difficult questions. You find ways to make the problem go away, at least for a little while. You become a bandage over the wound, not a cure. You learn a lesson that would follow through every quiet chapter. After that, truth is dangerous, but repair is profitable. Silence is power. The city does not need someone who can tell them what is wrong. It needs someone who can make the wrong thing keep standing. If telling the truth destroys the city's dream and silence saves your place beside the tower, which one do you choose? You leave the mud behind. You no longer carry stones. Instead, you step into the shadowed winding passages of the tower. You attend meetings in the bishop's palace. You measure the lean at night when no one is watching. You are now one of the few who knows exactly how bad the problem is. You are not invited because you are noble or educated. You are invited because you know the truth they fear most. You can read the cracks. You can hear the creaks. You can tell them which side can still carry weight and which is on the verge of collapse. This is the paradox of your role. You are still a worker at heart, but you now hold the fate of the tower and the city in your measurements. They cannot build without you. They cannot lie without you. By then, the lie no longer belongs to one man. It has become a system. The bishop needs it. The council needs it. The merchants need it. Even the workers need it, because if the tower stops, their wages stop with it. No one says the tower is safe. They only ask whether it can continue. No one asks whether the foundation was wrong. They only ask how much more stone it can carry. The truth has become useless because too many people now depend on the mistake. In front of the bishops and council, you always say the same 3 words: the tower can continue. You know, this is a gamble, but it is the only answer they will accept. And every time you say it, your power grows. You do not defeat the error. You learn to manage it. You become the custodian of the lie. Every new layer of stone is paid for by someone's silence, someone's blame, someone's name scraped from the record. The tower rises higher, and so do you. In 1178, war breaks out between Pisa and Genoa. Construction stops. The site is abandoned. For almost 100 years, the half-finished tower stands alone, leaning slowly into the sky. Across the silent decades, the tower keeps its secret. Names disappear. Workers die. But the same role survives. Someone must keep watching the lean. Everyone thinks this is a disaster, but something unexpected happens. The pause gives the soil time to settle. The water drains away. The clay compresses. The ground hardens slightly. The tower does not fall. It stabilizes. Time becomes the tower's first and greatest engineer. It saves the tower not through brilliant design, but through simple delay. In 1272, construction resumes. In this era, you stay among the craftsmen once again, watching the work restart. The new architects do not try to fix the lean. They know it is impossible. Instead, they try to cheat gravity. They build the upper floors asymmetrically, making columns on the south side taller to shift the center of gravity back. The result is a tower that is not just leaning, it is bending. Like a banana. This is not a design feature. This is the scar of 800 years of desperate repairs. In 1372, the bell chamber is added. The tower is complete. Pisa celebrates and calls it a miracle. Only the quiet craftsmen who have watched over it for generations know the truth. The lie has finally learned how to stand. When an error survives long enough to become beautiful, do you still call it a mistake? Or do you protect it because your power now depends on the lie? The years pass. The tower leans a little more every decade. It survives earthquakes and wars. In 1944, German soldiers almost destroy it. But something stops them. Maybe even they could not blow up such a beautiful mistake. Then, in 1990, the unthinkable happens. The Italian government closes the tower to the public. The lean has reached 5.5 degrees. The center of gravity has moved beyond the foundation. Engineers calculate it will collapse within 20 years. The postcard is closed. The miracle has become a death trap. Now, in modern times, your path leads you back once more. This time, as the official last repairman of the Leaning Tower. Barriers go up. Lead weights are stacked on the north side. Sensors are placed everywhere. You have been given 2 impossible orders. Do not let it fall. Do not make it straight. A straight tower would be safer, but it would no longer be the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The tourists would stop coming. The city would lose its identity. The quiet secret you have watched over across centuries would die. You stand at the base of the tower at night, sensors beeping softly in your hand. You appear to hold its fate, but you know the truth. You are bound by the same rules that held every guardian before you. Gravity, pride, tourism, and the old unspoken lie. You cannot tell tourists they are watching a controlled disaster. You cannot make it too straight. You cannot let it fall. This is the quiet burden you carry as the final repairman. The rescue operation is slow and terrifying. It is surgery on a sleeping giant, with the whole world watching. The engineers try lead weights and steel cables. They almost cause a disaster in 1995. When the tower shifts 2.5 millimeters in one night. Then, someone has a counterintuitive idea. Instead of pushing the tower back, they will remove soil from the rising side. They drill tiny holes under the north foundation and slowly extract spoonfuls of dirt. As the soil is removed, the north side sinks slightly and the tower straightens itself. For 3 years, the engineers work in secret. They remove 70 metric tons of soil, one spoonful at a time. They reduce the lean to 3.99 degrees. This is the golden lean. It is safe enough to stand for another 300 years. And it is still leaning enough to be the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Above ground, the tourists wait. Below ground, you watch the sensors. The world laughs. The last repairman does not blink. If making the tower safer means keeping it broken, is that repair or another lie? The camera pulls back across 800 years. It sees the first stone laid in 1173. It sees the wars, the masons who bent the tower, the German soldiers lowering their guns, the engineers working in secret. It sees the tower reopen in 2001, and the crowds rush back with cameras. All the people who made the mistake, lied about it, and repaired it are dead. But the mistake remains. It has outlived them all. It has outlived the Republic of Pisa. It has become immortal. The tower is safer now, but it is not innocent. It was healed without being corrected. Its wound became its identity. Its flaw became its glory. The lie became the truth. You stand in the crowd on reopening day. You watch a little girl pretend to push the tower. Her mother takes a photograph. They smile. They have no idea what it took to keep that tower standing. You realize that you did not repair the tower. You repaired the world's favorite distortion. You did not save a building. You saved a story. A story about a happy accident, a story about a miracle, a story that has nothing to do with the truth. You are the last person who knows the whole truth, and you will take it to your grave, because that is the duty of every guardian who has come before you. They do not tell the truth. They keep the lie alive. The tourists keep laughing, their hands outstretched in the same ancient pose. The cameras keep rising, capturing the lie one frame at a time. The tower keeps leaning, silent and unyielding. The last repairman keeps the old silence alive, watching over the mistake the world fell in love with. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is no longer just a building. It is a monument to human pride, error, delay, and silence. It is proof that sometimes lies are more powerful than truth. It is proof that sometimes the world loves a beautiful mistake more than it loves a boring perfection. This is your final choice. The tower can be made safer, but never innocent again. It can be straightened, but then the world loses the wound it came to worship. It can keep leaning, but only if you keep feeding the lie with measurements, soil, and silence. What do you do?